you for tuning in, and you are watching YanaTV. And today our guest is a high-profile event planner, Olga Iserlis, and she's sharing her tips on how to achieve a lasting success in business and life. What would be your own definition of success? Like, what is success to you?
Well, it's very personal, I believe, for everyone, what success means to every person. I'm quite demanding on myself, so I believe for me personally, the success is when I certainly satisfied with what I've done. And I love to bring happiness in people's lives. So if I see smiling faces, if I see the praise, if I see happiness, and when I'm able to create the celebrations of life, and I see that people do enjoy what I give them for the night or for the particular day, I'm very happy. It's a success to me.
Coming back to because you know, the part of this program is when we share stories of amazing people like yourself with the younger generation, and we want them to learn and to see how it was for you so they can draw some lessons for themselves. So if you just if you look at your life, and would you be able to picture like maybe the main lessons you have already learned about your life and yourself that you could share with us?
Well, my life was not easy. I had to grow up very, very quickly. I was, I guess, mentally grown-up person by the age of 13 or 14 years old. So I think the lesson that I've learned, you have to rely on yourself. No matter what, you have to be self-sufficient. This is, I think, the lesson that I would like to give to younger generation, to children, to everyone. Because the way my life was, nothing was given to me with a silver spoon. I had to my mother and myself had to start from scratch, no matter what kind of a life we had before, and the prestige and privilege, we had to leave all of it behind and start from nothing. And whatever I developed, it was all done on my own, basically. So I think that's the lesson. You have to be self-sufficient, and you have to look at the goal and go for it.
You have been doing it, I mean, now for so many years. I mean,
yes,
running
for over 16 years.
That's a long time.
Yes.
So you're truly an entrepreneur. What is the story that you grew into the person that you are today? And how did you even come with this idea to do like what you're doing right now, to organizing all those amazing events for other people and just be in that industry? So was it like accidentally? Was it something that was more of a calling? Was it something that it just came from the world around you? So what is the story?
I think it's all of the above. I think it's also the energy that surrounds me or surrounds us. I grew up in a very cultured family in general. So for me, it was always important to be present at the concerts, to play music. I studied violin. I went to the School of History of Arts, and I went to literature school. However, I never became a violinist. I never became an artist, and I can't paint at all. So I have zero ability. So
in art,
although I love art, and I know quite a bit about it. So I think through the events that I create, through the experiences that I create, this is where my creativity comes out. So this is the way I guess I can express myself.
Okay.
So, and yeah, it did come a little bit kind of unexpected, I should say, many, many years ago when I was invited to play part in organizing of one of the charity events. And from there onwards, actually, without any planning, without any marketing, I was asked by a number of top clients to organize events for them. And this is how it all started.
Okay, so this is how it all started at that time.
Yes.
So it means that sometimes what we're saying for people who maybe just going and they're trying to figure out what they want to do in life, and they're just kind of aspiring entrepreneurs and they're just looking for their message. So would it be something that you could tell them, you know, guys, you really and girls, so you really have to pay attention to that. You know, if you if you do this in life, then there's just a higher chance that you're going to succeed.
Yes, I think whatever you do in life, you have to do it with passion and follow your dreams for sure. And you know, sometimes it doesn't matter what matters is how. So do it, whatever you do in life, just make sure you do it with the best of your abilities, with the way you understand it, and just be open-minded in anything you do in life.
Okay. Do you consider yourself to be an open-minded person?
Yes and no, to a certain extent.
Okay.
To a certain extent. In my work, yes, I definitely am open-minded, and I always look for experiences and possibilities that are totally out of the box. So yes, I'm very open-minded in a sense. In some, in my personal life, or in some elements of the way I behave in general, I might be a little bit more conservative rather than open-minded.
Olga, you have a very busy family life and you have a very busy professional life. So I think it's probably many women right now in the modern world when we want to have it all, right? So this is the only question that we all ask ourselves. How do you combine it? How do you combine family, children, husband, you know, business, and time for yourself? So how does that work?
You know what, I don't think about it. It just works for me. I just do it. You know, a long time ago, I realized that you stress or you don't stress, you have to do whatever needs to be done and do it well. So I don't stress anymore. I just do it, and I embrace everything. So I try to find time for everything the best way I can. I would love to entertain more of my friends at home. I would love to see more of my friends in general, as you know. It doesn't happen. Well, right now my both kids are in New York, so actually they're not here. So it's, in a sense, easier for me to fluctuate with my own time a little bit. But when the kids were here, somehow I've tried to be at home in the afternoon. I have an office at home, so even if I'm busy in my office, the first thing when the kids are asked when they arrive from school is, "Mom, home?" So that was kind of the grounding part for me to hear that question, and for them, perhaps, I hope that I'm at home.
Okay, so what would you say that probably the number one quality that children are really looking in mothers? What would that be?
Probably understanding.
Understanding.
Yes.
Okay. Understanding.
Probably understanding of them, and probably give them a little bit freedom. And I've learned that for my own self, so yes.
Did you become a bit more relaxed mom as they started growing up?
Yes, I had no choice.
Okay.
Yes,
okay,
so I did. Yes, I learned to become more calm. I hope. They might not agree with me, but that's what I feel. Yes, I definitely.
Okay. And in business, like what would be maybe like top 3 qualities that you think people in business should definitely have?
Communication, belief, positive thoughts, only positive thoughts, and perseverance.
Okay. So, and if you unfold it a bit more, like communication
skills, I believe, are very important. So if you are, especially in the business that I am, when I have to communicate with a lot of different people, with a lot of different parties, the way you talk to people, your body language, your tone of voice, everything matters. And
do you have a tricks how you talk to people?
No, I can't say that, but I think your open face and your really care has to show.
Okay, so if you come across genuine,
yes, absolutely, absolutely, yes, the honesty and genuine, yes, feel for what you do and for the person whom you talk to is very important. And in general, in business or in life, I believe in positive thinking.
Okay.
For me, the positive thoughts is really everything. If I put a goal for myself and I believe in it and I see it in front of me, I know that it's going to happen.
How do you do this? I mean, I know it's like the whole world is now about positive affirmation and law of attraction and, you know, thinking positive thoughts. But it's just the way how we people are, you know, we can't
of
help,
course,
but something else comes in.
Of course, and then it
so
does.
how do you deal with that?
It does, but I try to brush it off, and I honestly really try to think positively. I just constantly train myself with it. And I can't say that I'm 100% successful, but this is what I want to achieve. I believe in it, and I'm going to do it.
Okay. And the second was the perseverance?
Perseverance, yes. I mean, nothing happens without the hard work. Nothing. Even if you just, you know, if you want to sit and do nothing, you still have to sit and do nothing well. So, well, it's an exaggeration,
yes,
but in general...
well, try to sit and do nothing for 24 hours. Yes, that's difficult.
Well, yeah, obviously. But you have to work hard in whatever you want to do in life. And if you want to achieve something, talent is not everything. You have to persevere and be a very hard-working person, plus the talent.
Well, it's what they say, the rule of the 10,000 hours, right? So whoever counts the 10,000 hours, that's the person who's going to win in this particular industry. So it all sometimes comes down to just doing things. Yes. Do you have like your own Olga's life philosophy that you follow, and you know, no matter what's happening, it's always going to get back you on your feet? Is there something that particularly you believe about life that helps you to go forward?
Well, as a positive thinking for sure. Yeah. And just love yourself a little bit more. And I'm working on it, but I think it is a philosophy that I believe in and I would love to follow, because if you love yourself more, and it's not a vain kind of love, it's just a comfort that you give to yourself, and then the same comfort you will bring to others. This is what I believe.
Okay, and I know that self-love is actually, it's like a huge topic itself, and I think it's particularly for women, no matter what country we're from, what language we speak, and it goes also across all generations. You know, historically, self-love was a subject that women kind of had to learn as they were growing up. So it's not something that we were born with naturally, right? So how do you do this? Like, I mean, let's say, because I know there are many women out there who are maybe not as good right now at loving themselves, right? So if you could share maybe some tips, how are you doing it? So that they could understand for themselves what is the best way for them to learn how to love themselves?
Well, because I'm a high achiever, and because what I do, I always really try to excel. I love myself for doing what I'm doing to the best possible way I am doing. I don't know if it makes sense, but this is what it is. So I, although I'm very critical, because I'm really perfectionist, I don't know for better or for worse. Nevertheless, if I succeed, I love myself for doing that, because I just love to make people happy, and that brings me happiness. That brings me energy as well. No matter how depleted I am, the energy that is given back to me from people around me, from my friends, from people whom I do things for, gives me this strength.
Okay, to keep going forward.
Yes, and that, I think that's a bit of a love for yourself as well.
Okay.
That's what it is, I think, in the general terms.
Okay. So it means, and how do you take care of yourself? Like, is there anything particular? Like, is there any, I don't know, days or routines or something that you just, like, how do you rest, basically? Because we all need to rest from time to time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what do you do to rest?
Well, for me personally, the sleep is very important. Okay. If I sleep at least 8 to 10 hours, for me it's a relief. I really come fresh, and I can function. So that's really a privilege for me to be able just to sleep and to clear my mind through peace in this way. I love to travel, so I think different experiences and visiting different places is really inspiring for me, and I get relaxed from that. And although I do work on my trips as well, but just the changing of the places and scenery gets me going. I'm not a very sporty person, I must admit, so I can't really promote too much the gym or yoga or Pilates, not yet. I would love that, but I think for me just peace and quiet, and listening to beautiful music, going to the concerts. Going to the concerts actually is probably one of my most enjoyable and most relaxing time for myself.
This is so when you are there listening to the music, you rest.
Oh, absolutely. Although, of course, your mind wanders, but this is what really is very important for me. This is what I enjoy.
And but I also know that people, don't get very far in life if they don't know how to deal with difficulties, right? Because as we go along, all kind of things are happening. And so what I hear often that what actually sets successful people apart from those who are not very successful is a lot your ability to deal with difficult situations and learning from mistakes. So how does it show up for you?
Of course, the mistakes been made for anybody and everybody. I was disappointed with some of people, but it of course taught me the lesson. But I also know, and it is especially for me, when you project the strengths and you think that the person is really strong, the stronger the person is, the more sensitive and the more weak sometimes at heart.
Or vulnerable.
Vulnerable, exactly. Vulnerable is the right word. He is. So this is exactly me. So, I might project strengths, but I get hurt quite easily.
It's interesting because, again, it seems to be just a common topics for quite some time already about vulnerability, and particularly public vulnerability. And I know that it's huge for many people. In real life, it's actually at times very difficult. Just because also in the society that we live in, and I think, again, it's particularly in Asian society, from my experience living in Asia, that's what I see, that somehow we're just not always that well accepted by other people. So it's, it's just interesting how we are learning to create that balance to stay true to who we are deep inside. And at the same time, because the thing is, if we don't show our vulnerability to other people, they can't connect, right? So that's a very tricky balance. How do you show enough of yourself to other people to connect, but at the same time, keep it safe for yourself?
Yes, it is definitely, as you said, a fine line, and I think still being true to yourself and express your right emotions to people around you is important, but to emotionally not to be affected by certain things and train yourself not to be affected emotionally is very important. Otherwise, you get burned.
I can see more and more business people looking for more opportunities in Asia, from US, from Europe, more and more of them are coming here. And again, because economically it is just a good environment, to build something up. But if you would say, what are the gifts, of working with people here?
Definitely, you have to be very patient. You have to be flexible. You have to be ready to take a step back and observe what is happening. You have to learn the ways that people communicate here or conduct the business. And it's very, very important. Ruthlessness sometimes, and I'm not saying that people who come here are ruthless, but in general, strength and ruthlessness sometimes is not the best way. You have to...
So it's all gentle, patient,
in a sense, you have to study people a little bit. Although Singapore is very international, so that of course helps. And a lot of Singaporeans have studied abroad, so they become very international as well.
Okay, do you see where they're going? I mean, do you see a lot of young people? Do you work with young people?
Yes.
So how are they? Or is there also anything that you would feel like maybe something you would like to share with them that will help them to succeed in life? So is there any kind of advice or tip that you would like to give them, that if they do this, or if they become that, then they're just going to be more successful?
Well, I think my advice in general, what I gave just the early part of the interview, stands the same. I feel that the younger generation Singaporeans, of course, I am in touch with them and I do work with them very much so. They're much more open-minded and they're sort of more, how shall I say, more risk takers, and they understand the world a little bit on a different level because they're well traveled, they've been exposed a lot, but yet the family roots are still very important to them, and I think it's a great sign for Asian society in general. And I think if you go into the philanthropy part, I think the younger generation, they understand the philanthropy part very well, and they're very giving people.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
When you look at people, what would be, again, maybe number one quality about people that you really would be looking for?
Genuine warmth.
Okay.
I like warm people. I like people who ask me, how do you do? They mean it. They want to hear the answer. And it's important for me. I don't like when people talk to you and their eyes are wandering somewhere else. I care about the answer. Just like when I ask a person something, I really want to know about it. So I like, in general, I'm a warm person by nature myself, so I love to socialize with warm people, with caring people.
Olga, what would be your biggest dream in life that you still haven't realized, but you would love to have it?
Travel the world, I guess.
Okay.
Have more time to myself to do so, and live in different places, not just 2 or 3 days at a time, but be able to just stay in one place for 2-3 weeks, few months, without any essence or need to rush back somewhere. And another dream, of course, for my kids to dream big and achieve whatever they want in their lives.
Like, I know that you believe in generosity and you believe in being genuine and kind of leaving the world a better place, I guess, than we found it, right? So if we just talk like in terms of maybe, for the lack of the better word, legacy, right? So if, like, what would you like your name to be remembered?
She gave us a celebration of life.
And that was Olga Iserlis sharing with us her tips on success and happiness. Make sure to apply everything that she mentioned, follow your dreams, learn how to love yourself, embrace your vulnerability, and create that amazing life that you absolutely and truly deserve. And until next time, live fearlessly.
People have asked me, what was so significant about your childhood? I remembered this incident. And this was the incident which made me who I am today.
Wow.